All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Around for the Weekend. As always, we are powered by Belly Up Sports. I'm your host, Ryan McCarthy. And today I'm going to first turn down the volume on my phone because it's echoing. And secondly, I'm going to bring in my guest, as advertised on all channels. I'm going to bring in my guest. We have the one, the only, Christopher Pinto of Belly Up Fantasy Live. Pinto, how are we doing today, bud?
Ryan, man, I'm doing great today. It's fun to be here with you early this morning to talk some NHL and some football. At the end of the show, I'll tease this. Ryan and I will tell you something that we're going to be working on together. We'll tell you at the end of the show. But yeah, man, NHL is hot right now. Fantasy football and football in general is just it's in the meat of it right now. This is what everyone wants at the end of the year. So I'm super excited about today's slate of games, or this weekend slate of games.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first thing first, what we do on Around for the Weekend is that I need to ask you, what are you drinking?
So, right now, I am drinking a New Belgian Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA out of Colorado.
Oh wow!
Hold on, let me see. Right, there we go. But I figured we will have like 5 segments to the show and Around for the Weekend. So I brought 5 beers with me, 1 for each segment, for a round for each of us. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it going.
Wow. Well, I'm just drinking coffee. I'm actually going to shout out to our one of our sponsors with Belly Up, Invader Coffee. So cheers to the people at Invader Coffee. I've also got just a little bottle of water with some with a hydration enhancer. So it's 11 o'clock in the morning where I am Eastern Standard Time. I thought about do I really want to drink today's the morning? It's like, nah, it's not St. Patrick's Day, so so not today, but that's okay. That's okay.
It's only 10 o'clock here in Texas, but some good advice from my father-in-law. If you don't start drinking in the morning, you can't drink all day.
That's true. That's true. You can't.
And Ryan, I'm going to have to, while you talk about Invader Coffee, give me 1 second. I will leave real quick. I forgot something. I will be right back.
Okay. All right. Let me take you off the screen then. So, all right. So before we get into, we're going to get into doing that hockey. And if you're been living under a rock, or you've been kind of outside the sports world for a little bit, obviously, hockey, the NHL started this weekend. This week, actually, started on Wednesday night. Had a full slate of games on Wednesday night. And Tinto's back, so let me go ahead and bring him back on. So, Chris, I don't know if you're a big hockey fan at all. I mean, is hockey big in Texas?
So, yes and no. If anyone's ever seen D2 The Mighty Ducks, one of the greatest films of all times from Disney, Dwayne Robinson from Austin, Texas, best puck handler Gordon Bombay's ever seen in his life. I mean, not really, but a little bit. My best friend growing up played hockey. I played lacrosse, so I sat between the pipes 1 game. The hardest sport I've ever done. I played football, I wrestled, played lacrosse, taekwondo, and hockey is absolutely different. I'll tell you that. So, talking to you more, getting into more fantasy analytics and sports, hockey is really cool. The minutes, the power plays, minutes in the box, all sorts of things like that factor in that don't factor in so much in like fantasy football, my world. So it's extremely exciting to me. And it's kind of like the Wild Wild West to me because it's untouched. So I really like it. It's really good. It's going to be fun.
Okay. All right. But do you have a specific NHL team?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yes. Okay. I alluded to them earlier. They're fictional, but I'm the Anaheim Ducks, man. I grew up watching the Mighty Ducks from Disney and then also the animated TV show. So jumping into this, excluding Sidney Crosby, I'm going to go for the Anaheim Ducks this season.
Okay. I know the Anaheim Ducks are kind of a dark horse to finish in the playoff hunt in the West Division, because I don't know if you know about the divisions this year. Everything's kind of changed. We have an exclusively Canadian division. We've got East, Central, and West divisions. And the West Division is 8 teams this year. So you got Anaheim, you got Colorado, San Jose, Los Angeles, the California teams basically. Dallas is in the division. St. Louis,
the Vegas Knights.
Yep, Vegas and Arizona. So those
Also,
are the
yeah,
only teams we're going to be seeing all year.
I was reading this too. So this is different this year. Teams will only be playing divisional games. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep.
So
They play. Each team will play each other 8 times, or eight times. So you play the other 7 teams, depending on which division you're in. You play the other 7 teams 8 times. So it's going to be
totally different, because prior to this, it was just like regular, right? You're flying across the country doing all sorts of stuff. So now that adds a different aspect in my mind too, because in football, at least, you in your division, you play the same team at least twice, right? T.Y. Hilton comes to mind just because I'm a huge Texan fan and he's the Texan killer. He faces Houston twice a year and he just absolutely dominates because he knows what these DBs are going to do. You would think that in hockey, in the pros, right, these strikers or the goalies as well will pick up tendencies from these players, and throughout the season, essentially the cream will rise to the top, more so in hockey than anything we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and you know, one cool thing about living in the States right now, especially now, is that you have a lot of young American hockey players that are out there making waves. If you watch some of the World Juniors, you had a few guys who are draft picks. They're going to play in the NHL this year. One of those guys is actually from your Anaheim Ducks, and his name escapes me right now, but I know he scored a lot in the World Juniors, but yeah, he's got one guy you're going to watch, obviously. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for sure. Yeah, we discussed this. I discussed this on my other podcast, which is No Credentials Required. You can check that out. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we talk about hockey often, but especially this year because of the interesting year with COVID and all the divisions, and fantasy hockey is going to be especially hopping because 56 games, it's a sprint to the finish, and fun season.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what drew me into the baseball season earlier this past year with Belly Up Sports, the shortened season. You know, prior to this, hockey's always been a big slate of games, essentially, right? So now with a shortened schedule and more divisional games, it's really going to be exciting to see how these players play out the season, and it's going to bring new players like me into the fantasy hockey world, and hopefully more eyes to the hockey world in general, because these guys are amazing athletes. The 3 guys I'm really looking at, though, Ryan, real quick, are going to be Connor McDavid, Leon, and then Nathan McKinnon. Those are those 3 guys that if I'm in any sort of fantasy draft, I want one of those guys really quickly.
Yeah,
and then Sidney Crosby for me. I like the guy.
Okay. Yeah, McDavid's going to be number 1 on everybody's list just because he's such a talented player. I don't know if you saw the goal. I'll send the video, but he scored the first hat trick of the year this year on Thursday night. But he also scored this highlight reel goal. And actually, if you go to our Belly Up Fantasy Instagram page, our intern Harrison has been killing it with the Instagram. He's been playing videos every day. We're going to have him up on our Twitter page too. But he has a video of the top 3 goals from each night. And if you look at that Instagram page from Thursday night, or from Friday morning, basically, but Thursday night when McDavid scored that highlight reel goal, he skates down the wing, he comes across, he comes to a full stop, snipes it, and goal. That's a goal. He's just an incredible player. But yeah, definitely, yeah, McDavid, Draisaitl, who's his teammate, he's his line mate, and Nathan McKinnon. Those are the 3 guys you can definitely want on your fantasy hockey team. And just coming back to our conversation about the Ducks and about American hockey, Trevor Zegras, Zegras, he was a top scorer for the U.S. He's a Ducks prospect. I would imagine he'll probably be called up at some point this season. So can't wait to see him on ice. He did really well, and he scored the game-winning goal in the gold medal game against Canada. Good player, guy to watch.
Kind of reminds me of an older Adam Banks, you know.
I'm pretty sure
he's on varsity. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can pull up his highlights on YouTube somewhere. You can check out a bunch of his highlights there. All right, so we have from our Billy Up family. We got our boss Mike Brown, Pinto, the fantasy hockey king. Look at that. Then we got Billy, also from Billy Up Fantasy Live. He says, "I'm old. I don't have Insta, as my kids call it. They might do Insta. Might work for me." Yeah, Billy. So have your kids follow Belly Up Hockey on Instagram, all one word, Belly Up Hockey. All right, so we've done enough of that hockey for now. So let's go over to the NFL. This weekend is the divisional round of the playoffs. 4 games scheduled this weekend. First game is today. Green Bay is hosting the Rams. Baltimore is at Buffalo. It's the nightcap, 8:15. And then tomorrow, we've got Cleveland at Kansas City. That's the day game. And Tampa at New Orleans. That's going to be the late afternoon / early evening game. That's going to be on Fox. So let's start off from the top. Chris, Rams at Green Bay. It's the 4:35 start on Fox. Take us through your thoughts of what's going to happen in that game.
So first, my thoughts are, one, I had to let the audience know what I forgot. I've done so many podcasts, so many guest appearances, so many streams, right? Mm-hmm. And I always have these 2 things on me because they mean so much to me, are my rings, my wedding ring and my fraternity ring. And I didn't have them on. So I had to stop. The wedding ring is an utmost thing. You guys stop whatever you're doing.
Yeah, you got to have that on. You got to
have it on. And then secondly, Billy in the chat said, "I'll have them all on talking about the divisional games." You better, Billy. We come back on Wednesday. This is live film review, sir. We're going at it on Wednesday. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
You're doing the all 22, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes,
nice.
Sir.
So we got to do that for hockey. There's got to be a hockey equivalent of the all 22, I feel. I mean, maybe they have that in Canada, but maybe not so much here. Maybe I'll have to watch some NHL Network on that. So getting back to Rams Packers.
So, the first thing when I dissect these games is you have to look at from top to bottom, because right now in these divisional games, it's win or go home, right? There's no mistakes. The mistakes will cost you the game, i.e. Josh Allen a couple years ago when he, Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. You're up there. I'm sorry. We'll talk about.
I'm a Jets fan. I'm not a Bills fan. I'm a Jets fan. Remember that.
How do you feel about the new hire for the head coach?
I got some feelings about that. Yeah,
dude. I mean, I just got goosebumps. I mean, the dude is a DC mind. He's gonna bring the Jets back, mean green, right? So we're back to the Rams. I'm sorry, I'll get off on a tangent sometimes. Billy and my guys know. Mike knows I go off on a tangent sometimes. You got to rein me in, So Rams and Packers, right? You got to start with the Rams. They're the visiting team. They're 10-6 right now. They've been extremely hot. They had a weird situation happen to them with the quarterback situation, right? Mm-hmm. Jared Goff just came off that surgery. Super tough guy, first of all, to come off 12 days after that surgery on his throwing hand and to play the game. Mm-hmm. But you got Warford, who super bad injury, right? We all, Billy, Ryan, Tom, and I were texting each other while we saw it, and Tom was like, "Dude, look at this look at this picture of Warford in the ER," and it's wild. So, Sean McVay, in 2017, he became the youngest head coach in modern NFL history. McVay coached 2 seasons in Washington after taking over the head coach position at the Rams. He is a offensive savant, if you would, right? Everyone knows, if you listen to us on Belly Up Fantasy Live, I've got a huge man crush on Sean McVay. Just his mind is so fucking crazy. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that on this show. You might have to bleep that out if you're on the East Coast.
We're not FCC compliant, so you can say you can.
There we go. Sometimes I go off when I talk about people that I like, right? Because Sean McVay's just got a super great mind for the offensive playbook. He knows what he can do. He's very creative. He calls the most plays out of 13 personnel and 12 personnel, which is really weird because when the NFL comes 11 personnel and 10 personnel, I guess, or 2 tight end sets are very, very prevalent right now with the offense has been showing out right now. Well, regardless of that, though, McVay still has Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, who is, Jared Goff, you could call him a system quarterback, but him and Sean McVay just work so well together. And now Cam Akers emerging as the running back one with that huge workload, over 200 or over 20 something touches, 2 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Cam Akers, man, make you so happy if you own him in dynasty football. Going up on their counterpart, do we know on the defensive side that Aaron Donald's going to play? I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know. My guys usually tell me about that. Billy, Ryan, and Tom are super quick on that, and they let me know that kind of stuff. But
I'm waiting for Billy to chime in the chat.
For sure. Billy, if you know this, is Aaron Donald going to play tonight? Because if Aaron Donald plays tonight, it changes the whole landscape of the game. Yeah, right now, I believe that Green Bay will win unless Aaron Donald plays. Green Bay is so dominant right now because if you look at the Rams right now with Aaron Donald on their defense over the last 4 weeks, and that's what we're looking at, the last 4 weeks, they've been a top 3 defense in every single category against the quarterback, against the running back, against the wide receiver, against the tight end, giving up the most to wide receiver, 23 points, 0 touchdowns to the wide receiver over the last 4 weeks. They've given up 5 touchdowns total, 2 to the quarterback, 2 to the running back, and 1 to the tight end. Absolutely crazy what this defense can do, but Aaron Donald shapes that defense. He is an unreal player, quoted by Troy Aikman last week. Troy Aikman has played up against LT, and I forgot who the second player was, but
Bruce Smith.
There we go. But Aaron Donald is the best defensive athlete he's ever seen in his life. So
Billy, just update, breaking news. Terminator good to go tonight, according to McVay, according to Billy.
Well, McVay plays with your mind, so who knows what's really going to happen? But Aaron Donald plays Rams win this game tonight, in my mind. I'm picking the Rams in this game for sure. Because when you look at it, like I was mentioned earlier, now with Aaron Donald in the lineup, the Rams defense is number 3 against the running back. You have Aaron Jones, who is the number 1 running back for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones is the running back 5 on the year, and he's exceeded expectations by 40 points, essentially, scoring 203 fantasy points for you. What that really correlates to, though, is he scored 10 touchdowns on the ground, or he scored 10 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, essentially. A monster, right? You always hear the hashtag free Aaron Jones. The dude is a monster. Now with Aaron Donald in the middle of that offense or defense, number 3 defense against the running back. Sorry, Aaron Jones. It's not going to be a good night for you. You look at the wide receivers now, and let me pull up something for you real quick, Ryan. You got Jalen Ramsey now against Devontae Adams. And how everyone is saying it's Jalen versus Devontae, that's not how it's going to be tonight. Right. It's going to be Devontae versus Jalen. Jalen's going up against the number 1 wide receiver in the league, and it's not even close. My guys, Tom and Billy, know Devontae Adams. They've been preaching to me all year about this cat. The dude is just phenomenal. He makes moves that no other wide receiver can. Jalen Ramsey's going to have to guard him all night. And Devontae, like we've seen him and Aaron Rodgers, like Ryan quoted and I think in our week 3 episode, well before Aaron Rodgers became Aaron Rodgers got vintage Aaron Rodgers going on right now. And it doesn't matter who's on his number 1 wide receiver. Devontae Adams will score tonight on Jalen Ramsey, but the Rams will win tonight.
Yeah, I have a good buddy of mine who is a huge Packers fan, and he talks a lot of smack in regards to the Packers. Somebody said, well, how many titles did Brett Favre win? How many titles has Aaron Rodgers won? It's just for Green Bay. It's just like they had that one. They win that one title with their quarterback, and then they go to they go deep in the playoffs. They make the playoffs, and they wind up going down in the early rounds or the middle rounds. So I mean, last year they got curb stomped by San Francisco, and you just kind of wonder. I mean, is this really Green Bay's year? I don't think it is. I mean, the NFC's tough period, but
well, I'll mention this real quick, and this has nothing to do with what's on the field. It has everything to do with what's on the sidelines. And like I mentioned, my man crush with Sean McVay. We saw him against Pete Carroll right last week, and he said, "This is not a checkers game. If you think I'm playing checkers, think again. I'm playing 3D chess." Out of this world. Sean McVay, 2 hours, I believe, before the before kickoff said Warford's my starter. No one knew. I didn't know. It was crazy. McVay is just a mastermind, and I think he's got
it's a psychological edge. He's trying to put a psychological edge.
The hair too, man. Time. The hair is ridiculous. His hair is ridiculous. 50-mile-an-hour winds, not moving Sean McVay's hair.
I mean, how much gel do you have to have that hair for 50-mile-an-hour winds not to move that hair? See, that's why I'm bald. It's aerodynamics, man.
I'm getting there.
Let's drag, man. All right, and our boy Billy chimed in. He said, I do not like this matchup for Green Bay. The pass rush, pinning Donald, of course, and Ramsey on Adams will at least slow down the dominance. Pack may be in trouble. I agree. If my friend Dave is watching, I'm sorry. I think your pack's going down today, buddy. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. But all right, so let's move on to the nightcap, which is Baltimore at Buffalo, which I think is going to be the game of the week.
Yes.
In terms of the playoffs.
Super excited about this game tonight.
I have an older brother who lives in New Hampshire now, but growing up, when we moved to New York from New Jersey, my mom said, okay, you have to pick, since now we live in New York, you have to pick New York, you have to go New York exclusive teams. You have to pick, your favorite teams have to be from New York. I'm like, I really like the Jets. My oldest brother likes the Giants. And my middle brother is kind of a disturber. He's the disturber in the family. He's like, I'm going to pick the Bills. I'm like, whatever, dude. The Bills are terrible. Well, they had those 90s ones in the 90s where they go to 4 straight Super Bowls. They go to the playoffs pretty much every year, except I think up until 97, and drop off for a bit. Now they're back, and we were texting back and forth during the Pittsburgh Cleveland game. Cleveland goes up 28-0. We're getting text messages. He's dropping F-bombs. Like, I don't want to play Baltimore. Well, guess what? You're playing Baltimore. So, but this is going to definitely be the match of. This is going to be the game of the week. I foresee a back and forth affair. I know the weather is going to be. I live in upstate New York. I live on the east side of New York, so we don't get as much of the weather that the winter weather that Buffalo and Rochester and all those western and central New York cities get. But from what I understand, it's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. It's going to be Baltimore's type weather.
Yeah, I totally agree with the weather situation. It's going to be super optimal for every. I don't know what Billy's talking about. Ty God. I don't know who Ty God is anymore, Billy. It's all about Herb God and Lancelot these days. But the Baltimore Ravens right now, man, they're on fire. They are getting it together when it matters.
Yeah, they're getting hot. They were getting hot at the right time after their COVID.
I mean,
all their COVID stuff went down. They get healthy and they get hot. And that's
healthy and hot, but also stability at the running back position from rookie sensation
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins out of LaGrange, Texas, my wife's hometown. My mother-in-law taught J.K. I met J.K. when he was in high school, and a handshake like a man, looked me in the eye, yes sir, no sir.
Wow.
While he was already signed to the Ohio State, I didn't know the kid from Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just super polite, and I love the kid. I wrote an article when I first came on to Belly Up Sports how he was my 1.01 for rookie drafts when I came on. I still believe that just because of his longevity in this league with the John Harbaugh system. And Greg Roman, right? Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, he has been billed as one of the run heaviest play callers in the league, second to Kevin Stefanski, who we'll talk about later. But JK has finally taken over the role as running back one, even though Gus Edwards is still there to relieve him every now and then. And you have Lamar Jackson, obviously, who we'll talk about in a second, who is obviously the running back one on the team. But he's a quarterback as well, right?
Right.
But
JK, it's that multifaceted ability of his.
Billy's laughing at me right now. JK, though, man, he has set a rookie record over Todd Gurley, over Emmitt Smith, to have the most consecutive games as a rookie to score a touchdown and have 70 plus combined yards. J.K. Dobbins holds that record as an elite running back in this league. When everyone thought he was undersized, the dude's vision is incredible and he works hard. You got to love guys who have heart in this league. So,
Absolutely.
JK, love you, dude. He is the reason why they will beat the Buffalo Bills tonight. But some stats for you. The DC for the Bills, Don Martindale, right? You know this, Ryan.
Of course.
20th versus the running back position. He's allowed 67 carries for 345 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with 17 out of 20 completion or 20 receptions for close to 170 yards and 2 touchdowns just to the running back position over the last 4 weeks. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson will run over this Bills defense and control the clock to keep Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs off the field, because when those two guys are on the field, they're scoring every time. It doesn't matter. This game, like you mentioned, is going to be super fun. The point spread is what? 2.5 points. It's going to be super fun tonight to watch this game.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a fun game. And you mentioned, Chris, the one thing that Baltimore does need to do is that they need to control the clock and keep Josh Allen off the field, keep Buffalo's offense on the field, because the Buffalo hasn't had an offense like this since, Jim Kelly? Jim Kelly, Drew Bledsoe, arguably. So, yeah, that's going to be Baltimore's MO, is going to be control the clock, keep Allen and the offense off the field, wear down, grind the ball, grind the defense down, get them exhausted. And also, Buffalo's allowing fans to come in the stadium, but it's not going to be as loud as Rich Stadium can be.
I'm not worried about it because if Marcus Peters can shut down Stephon Diggs, it's going to be an unreal night for the Buffalo Bills defense. Marcus Peters, unreal athlete. I compare him to Jalen Ramsey, probably like a step below him, obviously, but he's only allowing 7 out of 14 completions to him. So wow. I love Marcus Peters in this game tonight.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm definitely going to be watching. I'll have, actually my New Jersey Devils hockey team, they're playing an early game today. So I don't have to worry about conflict of interest, but all right, we got Billy again saying, I always fade a team in their first trip to the postseason. Buffalo didn't look their best against Indy. I agree. I thought Indy was going to give them a test. Baltimore last year went home early, especially being the first seed. Baltimore times run game and defense, that's the recipe. Yeah. Sorry, Buffalo fans. I'll eat my words next week if Buffalo winds up winning the game, but I think Baltimore is going to probably want to win this game by touchdown, at least a touchdown.
I totally agree with that.
All right, so moving on to tomorrow, the Lord's Day, Cleveland at Kansas City. It's a 3:05 game. Let me just take a look to see what the point spread is right now.
10.
The spread is 10. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. I think Cleveland covers. That's for sure, especially if they can keep Kansas City off the field. But what are your thoughts about some of this? What are your thoughts about some of this game?
So this being, I think it's our third round in a round for the weekend, and this is one of my favorite games to watch out of this whole main slate of games. I had to mention Revolver Brewery out of Texas. 2 6-shooters, right? Honey, blood, orange. Blood is what I was going for because there's going to be blood in the water, Ryan. If you didn't know, Kareem Hunt, running back.
Oh, he's out for blood.
Number 10 running back on the year for fantasy football is going back to Arrowhead, the team that drafted him out of Toledo, that shipped him off to Cleveland when everything happened, right? Yeah. It's called the revenge game in fantasy football. And Kevin Stefanski is the run heaviest coach in the league. As we've seen, he has produced a tandem of running backs with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb as a running back 10, running back 11 in fantasy football, the best dynamic duo in the backfield that you could have in football. And they're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, who have allowed, let me pull this up over here. Old Stevie Boy, right? Against the running back as the DC. He's the number 27th coach against the running backs, allowing 32 points to the running back position. Now, this is where it gets a little funky because me and my guys at Belly Up Fantasy will talk about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb all day. Obviously, Nick Chubb is the better running back. Oh, okay, you can clip that. I said that. But but Kareem Hunt has been my dude all year because of the PPR skills and everything like that. And look at what he's going to do against this defense. The Steve Spagnuolo defense has allowed 83 carries for 337 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. But through the air to the running back position, they've allowed almost 92% completed passes for 326 yards. 9 yards less, but 3 touchdowns. So Kareem Hunt is going to have a heyday against this defense. Baker Mayfield is going to have a heyday against this defense because he's going to look like a superstar. He's going to sign like 14 more Hulu commercials tomorrow about him just throwing the ball to Kareem Hunt out of the backfield and beating Patrick Mahomes. Tomorrow is not the real deal about the Cleveland Browns versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, come on. It's big business. It is State Farm versus Progressive Insurance, and Progressive Insurance is going to want to win this game. So Progressive Insurance will throw the ball to Kareem Hunt like every down tomorrow and just eat up clock, make Spagnuolo look silly, make Kevin Stefanski look super good for taking in Kareem Hunt, letting Kareem Hunt do his thing as a Toledo Rocket against this porous defense. And that's why I'll take whatever you want to take against the Kansas City Chiefs with the Cleveland Browns coming to Arrowhead. 20-point, let's not say 20 points, but the 10-point difference, Cleveland's going to beat them tomorrow, and it's going to be funny.
Kansas City they have a pretty porous defense, but sometimes they come through at the most when they need to come through.
They have the Honey Badger. He's a ball hawk.
Honey Badger's a ball hawk. Look at last year's Super Bowl. They come back from 20-10 down. San Francisco's driving down the field, trying to get that game-winning touchdown. What happens? Interception. Game over. So Cleveland's going to have to control the clock, obviously, on offense. Secondly, Kansas City's going to be doing Kansas City things. I mean, even though they won't be on the field, even if their offense isn't on the field as much, they're still efficient enough to get a touchdown in less than 2 minutes. We saw it last year against the Texans in the divisional round. Kansas City goes down 35, 28-7. I'm sorry, Pinto. I forgot you had that Texan shirt on. But you remember full well.
Oh yes, I remember well.
By plenty, and then they get skunked the rest of the way because Kansas City's offense.
Funny story enough, my daughter her birthday is January 10th, 2019. If anyone remembers that date, if you're a Houston Texan, you know that date. Her first game was Patrick Mahomes, and followed up by Patrick Mahomes beating the Texans. So I'm going to have to talk to my daughter when she can talk in a couple of years, if she can remember it, and we'll figure it out.
Oh, but Billy just chimed in. Chiefs shut down King Henry last year in the playoffs. 19 carries, 69 yards. It's got a good point there. I mean, look at last week. The Ravens shut down King Henry. He had barely 50 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
So
and it's funny because I think. Wait, hold on. Is no one listening to this show, Ryan? Billy, is no one listening to this show? Did I not just say Steve Spagnuolo's defense has allowed 83 carries for 337 yards and a touchdown on the ground? Derrick Henry runs the ball on the ground. Nick Chubb runs the ball on the ground. Does no one understand? It's a Kareem Hunt revenge game. The Steve Spagnuolo defense has allowed 92% catches out of the backfield for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns. King Henry being the king, he still does not catch the ball out of the backfield. Kareem Hunt catches the ball out of the backfield, Billy. And everyone who's watching, it's a Kareem Hunt revenge game. Kareem Hunt will be victorious against the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is where we disagree, I think, Chris. I think Kansas City, they won't
That's
cover.
fair.
They won't
That's
cover.
fair.
They won't cover. I mean, they won't cover the spread, but they will. I think at the end of the game, I think Kansas City will prevail. If they score over 30 points, if it turns into a shootout, I'm going with the Chiefs. I think it's going to turn into a shootout. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Hopefully,
if you're like,
not a
you're like
shootout
defense,
because
nightmare.
if it is though, I mean, the Buffalo, or I'm sorry, not the Buffalo Bills. The Browns are terrible on defense. They're just terrible. They're only good against the running back, but against the quarterback and the wide receiver and even the tight end, they're bottom half in the league, letting over, was that 12? Yeah, 12 touchdowns. It's ridiculous. So you got to, very similar to the Buffalo Bills game, if the team with the running backs can control the clock and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, they win.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. We might have a tag along appearance on the show. He's just crying at my doors right now.
I love it. You're right, Billy. I mean, dude, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield in college. We're about to see it again, right? And it's going to be super, super fun. Andy Reid, though, obviously great coach. I really want to see what Benemy can do because he's been in the headlines this year or this week at least, or the past 2 weeks, and he hasn't accepted a head coaching job yet. Obviously, the Texans has requested him pretty soon. So after this game, Benemy will be in Houston, I assume, by my prediction, interviewing for the head coaching job.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's probably why a lot of teams haven't hired Bieniemy or had him in because he's been. Oh, there he is. Hello, bud. Say hi to the world,
dude. What's the name? What's his name, Ryan? His
tag
name?
along.
Oh.
Like the cookie, like the Girl Scout cookie. And he literally does live up to his name sometimes. Like he'll literally be at your side when you're walking down the hall. It's hysterical. Okay, so our last game of the weekend, the nightcap, or the early evening cap on Sunday, Tampa Bay against New Orleans. New Orleans at home, 3-point favorite. This is going to be another all these games have the potential to be extremely entertaining this weekend, including this one. It's Saints Bucks 3, and it's Saints Bucks 3. The last time we saw Tampa Bay and New Orleans in a game, New Orleans wiped the floor with Tampa Bay. Is this going to be a closer game than what everybody thinks?
So the spread is 3 points, right, to the Saints in NOLA, right off of Bourbon, right? So the game tomorrow is going to be pretty good. I've decided, this being the last round, essentially, I'm going to go with 1,366, a little Stella Artois.
So
a little classy beer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little sophisticated because of the quarterback situation going on over here. You got Drew Brees, Hall of Famer. You have Tom Brady, GOAT in my mind. You have the two defenses is what we really are going to look at, because in this defensive battle is what it's going to be, because we'll talk about it in a second. But Todd Bowles as the DC for Tampa Bay has been everything but spectacular. 15, 13, 18, 25. Those are his rankings as the defensive guys. So against the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Offenses are coming into Tampa Bay and just doing what they want at will. So Alvin Kamara is going to do his thing. Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders are going to do their thing. Jared Cook as a tight end is going to do his thing. We're going to see Taysom Hill score at least once in this game because it's going to be prime time. It's going to be it's going to be the future of the Saints, right? Because Drew Brees will be commentating next year, in my mind. And Dennis Allen on the opposite side has allowed the same thing. Bad as well. 28, 22, 16, 13. Allowing a lot of points to all these positions where Tampa Bay, coached by Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians, is phenomenal. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Byron Leftwich hasn't gotten a lot of you haven't seen his name a lot in coaching jobs.
You know, he's a really loyal guy. Hashtag we are Marshall, carried down the field with a broken leg and still won the bowl game. Him and Bruce Arians have been a great combination over years. And he's one of the guys that I really idolize too, because he's loyal, he's with a guy that brought him into the league and they're doing it. And it's Bruce Arians, the head coach, but Byron Leftwich is the commander of this offense. Everything that you see day in and day out tailored to a hurt Mike Evans, a hurt Chris Godwin, a veteran in Leonard Fournette is tailored by Byron Leftwich. I mean, come on. Mike Evans was terrible, in terrible shape at the beginning of the year, and he literally showed you in the fantasy
not James Harden shape. Not James Harden
shape. He's not eating fat burger or Whataburger. He's not doing that. But he went one catch for 1 yard and a touchdown. That's elite. You're scoring a touchdown for your team. That's elite. So Byron Leftwich is an elite mind in my mind. And you look at these guys that are going to be playing. Alvin Kamara. What, he had like 7 touchdowns on Christmas Day? Come on. The dude is going to score, but he's got to go up against one of the best defenses in Todd Bowles against the running back, or I'm sorry, a bottom half defense against Todd Bowles. So he's going to do what he's going to do against this defense and score about 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game. But this is the X factor. Tom Brady. If you've ever listened to our show, right, you know how I rant and rave about TB12, Tampa Brady. No team in NFL history has ever hosted a Super Bowl and been in it. This year, Tampa Bay hosts the Super Bowl. Tom Brady was a huge factor in him going to Tampa Bay at the beginning of the year because he wants to break records. The dude was drafted in the 6th round. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's had a chip on his shoulder since day one. It doesn't matter how many rings he has, how good he is. The dude eats like kale and fish 24/7 because he wants to be the QB1, and he will be. Tom Brady now with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown back in form too, man. Antonio Brown catching some balls. And then Gronk. Gronk is going to have a heyday in the Super Bowl against whoever they're playing because they're going to win again. And he's not only going to be on the Masked Singer or the WWE 24/7 champ, he's going to be another Super Bowl champ with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. That's why the Bucs will go into New Orleans, cover whatever spread you have, and they're going to win the game tonight. Or I'm sorry, not tonight, tomorrow night.
Okay, that's another disagreement there because the only reason why I say that, and actually, after I say my piece about the game, give you a little fun tangent about Gronk. I learned about last week. I was helping my friend move. New Orleans and Kansas City were my Super Bowl pick way back in September. I thought Kansas City obviously has the offense to do a lot of really special things. Defensively, the Saints have come along, especially in the past couple of weeks. I mean, last week was kind of a bit of a defensive lesson given to the Bears. The Bears offense.
Let's just put a little asterisk next to that. It's against the Bears.
Well, considering the Bears had scored over 30 points in over 30 points in 4 of the last
garbage
5
time
games
still counts at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, the one thing I do want to see is I do want to see more games on Nickelodeon. Do you agree?
I 100% agree. The slime was awesome. The Nate Burleson was extremely fun.
Nate Burleson was excellent.
Dude, that was the best game I watched that entire weekend because not only the slime, but just the fun everyone was having.
Yeah, I mean, do you know how many? I mean, if I were an ex-player, or if I were a young and up-and-coming play-by-play announcer, I would want that. If they put more games in Nickelodeon, I would kill for that slot, because you're dressed in casual clothes. You don't have to worry about wearing a suit. You're just hanging out in your hoodie and your T-shirt and talking about, and just doing play-by-play and talking about the game and educating folks about the game.
And then you
Everybody
look
needs to do
behind
this.
you.
Every
and
sport needs to do this.
You look behind you, and you got the cast of All Real Monsters. I'm saying,
right. You got SpongeBob SquarePants in the goalposts.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I love it. I love Nickelodeon for doing that, and I mean, I think they had the biggest viewership out of the entire weekend.
206 million rumored.
Smart,
super smart idea by the NFL.
Does Nick Cannon own that?
Viacom it's CBS Viacom.
Fair enough.
But he probably owns a piece somewhere. But yeah, I think every sports league in America, including the NHL, I think the NHL would have so much fun with it, because it's just a good sport. I mean, MLB could. I mean, every goal scored in the NHL, you had the slime cannons. Every hit, you see the guys, the SpongeBob eyes come up in the replay for every big hit. We got a comment from our friends at Rumboy's Net, Dilly.
That's my boy Robbie over there. First of all, Robbie is a straight icon in the fantasy football world, Ryan. He has a network, it's amazing. The people that he has on his network are all top notch. Rumboys do a really good production, man. I was on I did, Robbie. I had to. It's my deal, right? I was on his show After Dark a few weeks ago, and that was the most fun I've ever had as being a guest on any show. Robbie is a cut above the rest. You want to talk about a 1.01 host? Robbie from Rumboys Net is the 1.01 host.
All right. So shout out to Robbie over at Rumboys. So back to my tangent about Gronk. I learned about this last week, helping one of my friends. We were just taking a break and just catching up on life, because we haven't seen each other because of the Rona. I don't know how it is in Texas. Up in New York, it's weird. But he was telling me about Gronk, and that that goofy, frat boy moniker, the image that he projects. He's actually a smarter dude than a lot of people think he is, because I think he was interviewed by CNBC. Somebody asked him, "Oh, how do you live off your salary?" He's like, "I don't live off my salary. I live off the endorsement money I get, and the rest of my money, my salary from NFL, I put that for saving for retirement. I put that for saving for business investments, for stock, for mutual funds. I just live off my endorsement deals." I'm like, that's super smart, and I hope he teaches that to every athlete coming up in the NFL, every rookie.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain athletes in the NFL that know a thing or two about a thing or two. You talk about the hashtag money man in, what's his name? Carl Nassib, the defensive end that plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Mm-hmm. But it's a Dave Ramsey mentality, and Gronk has it. Yes.
So I was a coordinator for many years at my church. I took the program. I got it. Yeah. My sister's actually getting certification for to be a certified counselor.
Okay, let's talk afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. Because Dave Ramsey, man. I mean, that's the goal, obviously. But back to what we're talking about. Robbie. Of course, Robbie would know about that. Yeah, I'm saying. Golly, Robbie. And he hosted Rumboy. So first of all, if y'all don't know what Rumboys After Dark is, it's a show where everyone just gets super, super hammered and just gives their takes and has a fun time. I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
it's the craft brewed sports of fantasy football.
It really is. But
shout out to my guys at Craft Brewed Sports.
Yes, Craft Brewed Sports as well. But you gotta check this out for sure. But Robbie, man, he's 24/7, dude. The dude is the dude's good. So Golly, you got me off on a tangent. I don't know. There you go, Robbie.
Robbie knows craft brewed sports.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
rein me in, Ryan. I mean, sometimes you just got rein me in.
All right. Let's get it. Let's get back to the my picks for the and for this weekend for Sunday's late game. I picked New Orleans again because they're my Super Bowl pick. Their defense is coming on point. I think it's going to be a close game for sure. But I think New Orleans pulls it off at the end and they go to the championship.
We'll have to disagree on that one for sure, Ryan.
Yeah. But again, if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. Yeah, we'll chop it up.
It'll be fun.
All right, so you got time for one more segment?
Of course. I've got one more beer.
All right. So the last thing we're going to do is talk about the NFL coaching vacancies. And we had 2 vacancies filled on Thursday. We had one filled yesterday, kind of snuck in on the Friday news dump. So Jacksonville hired Urban Meyer. They managed to coax him out of retirement to coach the Jaguars. I don't know how much money Shahir Khan has, but must have been a
lot.
Healthy amount. Yeah, it must have been enough to coax him into coming out of retirement. My New York Jets hired Robert Saleh, from defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. And yesterday, kind of sneaking in there during, again, Friday news dump, because you got to get out your news somehow on Friday, Arthur Smith accepted the head coaching job of the Atlanta Falcons. So we have, 4 vacancies left? We have the Lions, the Chargers, your Texans, and the Eagles.
Yep.
So what's your feeling about these? What's your feeling about these vacancies first?
Okay,
off,
so first the vacancies. Obviously, the Texans. Let's get this out of the way real quick. My guys know how I feel about this. I called this before everything happened. I said, look, the Texans will get a GM and wait on a head coach.
Okay, I was about to ask, are they playing the waiting game first with the GM?
Yes.
They do their homework, and then they do the interviews.
In my mind, the only way to come back from all this BS from BOB is to play it smart. You got to play the tortoise and the hare type game right now. You get the guy that's going to run your team and your franchise for the next 20 years. We got him, okay? Or we say we got him. This is the guy. Let's see what he can do. Let him wait. Let him hold his cards up until we don't need to anymore. And that's what's going to happen. We probably won't sign a head coach up until 4 or 5 days before the draft, I would think.
Okay. So the one thing I'm cautioning Texans to avoid is playing the waiting game like the Jets did back in 2018 or 2019, excuse me, when all the coaching candidates were gone and they wound up hiring Adam Gase, and we all know what happened there.
So my whole premise is we've got our GM, right? I've already said to my guys, we can keep Big Rome this year. Keep Big Rome and wait for a head coach. You don't need to rush the head coaching job. Big Rome has the players that we need right now.
And by Rome, you mean Romeo Crennel?
Correct. Yes. I mean, Big Romeo Crennel is probably one of the only guys in the NFL that will get J.J. Watt to come back. And so I have no qualms if the Texans don't name a head coach this year and they just say, hey, Romeo Crennel, let's go, earn it, and let him do it. And shoot, he could be the Texans head coach next year as well. I like him. He's a good guy. He's been with the organization for a while, and obviously the players like him as well. I mean, J.J. Watt's come out and said that, like, he loves Rome. So
yeah, he seems like a player's coach.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So
for sure.
I like that a lot. Other vacancies right with Philadelphia. I mean, my boy Tom obviously wanted a DC head coach, but we'll see what they can do. Billy thinks that the Detroit Lions will take Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I was about to post Billy's hot take about Detroit. Doug Peterson to Detroit. Oof. I don't know about that.
We'll have to see about that. So I don't know. The the coaching jobs that have been taken, though, I'm really excited about. I think they're all good fits.
Okay. Do you think? Well, let's start with Urban Meyer because he was the first one to be hired out of the coaching vacancies. Do you think he can adapt to the pros? Because pros is a different animal than college. With college, you got to go out and do active recruiting. You got to travel a lot of places. I mean, with COVID, obviously, you can't do that so much. But do you think it's going to be a big culture shock initially in terms of going from college to pros?
For Urban Meyer, no. He's been meeting with Khan for the past 2 years, off and on his yacht, private islands, all sorts of things. He's been with the organization for a while. And Urban Meyer also told Khan it would take the perfect opportunity for me to come out of retirement to do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's got the 1.01. He's got He's got like 14 picks essentially, right? If he wants them. So he can either take
and $100 million in cap space too. Don't forget.
I mean, he can do what he wants on this team. This is essentially the perfect spot, and this is what he wanted. Khan presented it to him on his yacht 3 days ago or 4 days ago. Urban Meyer came off the plane, signed it. Urban Meyer is going to be the coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Super excited because of these guys that are already on the roster. You got James Robinson, who was the top 12 running back last year in fantasy sports, and then also real football, right? DJ Chark, who's coming off of IR. You got Keelan Cole. You got a good tight end. You have a steady defense, right? And Miles Jack, who is the center of your defense. If people don't know who Miles Jack was, UCLA running back / linebacker in the bowl game all through the season. He played Ironman football and played both sides of the ball. Miles Jack is an athlete. So Urban Meyer coming into this culture, coming into this offense, coming into this defense, coming into this team, he's going to dominate right off the bat in the draft and build a team that he is going to coach for the next 15 years, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick style, I believe.
Right. So here are the draft picks for the Jaguars. They have 2 first-round picks. They have their number 1 pick, and they have the Rams pick from the Jillian Ramsey trade. They have the first pick in round 2, and they have the Vikings second-round pick from the Ngakoue trade. 1 third-round pick, 2 fourth-rounders, 1 from the Rams, the 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. So that's 10 picks in the first. That's 10 picks.
The draft is stacked too. I mean, there's so much depth out in the skill positions at running back, at wide receiver, at offensive line. The defensive side of the ball, no one's talking about really because these offensive names are so big. But outside of Parsons and Surtain, dude, the defensive side of the ball is so stacked that the Jacksonville Jaguars can build an empire if they wanted to.
Right. Yeah, so they got a lot of draft capital. They got a lot of cap
money.
Space,
yeah,
a lot of money to play with after cuts and such. So and restructures. Now, the second vacancy fill was my New York Jets. They got somebody who I never to a similar situation. Jets are going to have a lot of cap space after cuts and restructures. They're going to have, I think, 7 out of the first 100 picks. They get 7 or 8. It's
I think it really boils down to that
draft capital.
Yeah.
So I think Soleil's coming into a good situation there.
Oh, for sure. I love like we were talking about prior to the show, man. Like I got goosebumps when we were talking about him getting hired on by the Jets because it's such a good fit for the Mean Green and what the history and the lineage has for the Jets. And this guy should be the coach of the Jets for the long haul. But I'm super excited. I think you even mentioned it. I think I'm going to even give you credit for what, like 3 months, we'll say like 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking Sam Darnold, let him be your quarterback, and take Panay
Sewell.
There we go. As the 1.02, roll with it. Him and Becton be the bookends of your offensive line. I love that. I'm going to go with that because the quarterback depth in this draft is not deep. You got Trevor Lawrence, you got Justin Fields, you got Wilson, you got Lancelot, and then you got
Mac Jones,
maybe Trask.
Oh, okay, hot take.
Maybe. So I mean, we've talked about out of the top three, really out of the top two, Fields and Lawrence, it gets murky. So this is not a good quarterback draft class in my mind. So
a lot of talent, but just a lot of experience too. I mean, a lot of question marks because Wilson has only been a starter for what, a season and a half. Trey Lance, FCS quarterback, it's an unknown with him.
Trey Lance, my favorite. He's my favorite. I'm gonna take him over these other guys, but everyone knows I'm a dual threat guy. He's got a good QB mind, but he's a dual threat guy. So sometimes that doesn't correlate into the NFL. Yeah.
But I'm excited as a Jets fan. I had my wish list. Bieniemy was one of my coaches on the wish list. Can't remember who. Arthur Smith was one of my wish list guys, as was Matt Campbell. But Matt Campbell from Iowa State, he's already said he's not interested in an NFL job because I think he's going to try to go for, if Ryan Day gets hired in the NFL, he's going to Ohio State. Either him or Luke Fickell from Cincinnati.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're both Ohio guys. But
yep.
And then lastly, the one that snuck in on Friday night or Friday afternoon, Arthur Smith going to the Falcons. That's a curious pick.
So, man, I was hoping we were going to talk about this because my boy Billy, obviously in the chat right now, he rope-a-doped us. If you ever know who Muhammad Ali is, he rope-a-doped us. We're in a dynasty league that he brought myself, Tom, and Ryan into Iowa. And somehow, some way, everything that we've been talking about, Billy ends up with the 1.02 pick in the rookie draft class, right? We all know that the 1.01 in every rookie draft will be Trevor Lawrence, depending on spot. But very rarely will you go outside of Trevor Lawrence. The 1.02 pick is super exciting because you will get an elite running back wherever you go, right? With the new hire at Atlanta, that mindset, Arthur Smith out of Tennessee with Derrick Henry. Oh, golly. What do you want without Derrick Henry, right? You want Derrick Henry 2.0. You want Derrick Henry who's been fresh. You want the kid out of Alabama who has not been used as much as Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, who is a step below Derrick Henry until proven in my mind, because he's also an elite athlete. He has that same weird, you don't think he's running fast, but then he runs faster than everybody else fast. And it's weird because you're like,
he's Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was huge, and then he gets in the field and he outruns every single athlete on that field by a 20-yard margin.
Yes, because he's like,
you probably still do it in the
around. I'm gonna bounce around. No one's gonna tackle me, and I'm just gonna start running, and then I'm gonna run faster than everybody else, Tecmo Bowl style, and that's what Najee Harris has. And at the 1.02 pick from Atlanta, who needs a running back, who has a great offensive line, because they have some Aggies out there. Their defense is good, who can stop the ball. DeAndre Jordan, I'm talking about these linebackers who are really good. But also, you have Calvin Ridley, you have Hayden Hurst, you have Julio, and you have Russell Gage. Matty Ice's still slinging the rock. He's going to have one more year in him, but the turning point in that offense, especially in the NFC NFC South. The South is going to be such a big offensive.
It's going to be a stacked division
next year. Yeah. I mean, CMC's coming back. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Tom Brady, this is big names. And this offense is just going to flourish with Najee Harris. The dude is going to be, he's like my Jonathan Taylor touchdown last year. He made a top 12 running back by the end of the year next year. Well, Billy said it first. I'm saying it on your show first.
Yeah, Atlanta's fourth in the draft order. Would you want to take Harris that high? Or would you want to maybe drop down a couple spots and see if anybody below them
No.
Detroit or Carolina or
No,
Denver.
I've watched a lot of
needed a
film on
quarterback.
Najee. So right now it's our off season, right, for Belly Up Fantasy Live Football, and we've taken 3 weeks off. During these 3 weeks, I've done a lot of rookie film watching, stats, everything like that, to get ready for the draft for our guys, and for dynasty leagues and stuff like that. I've always boasted that Travis Etienne is going to be my 1.01 this year, just because of his Le'Veon Bell-ness to me. I'm always going to take the Le'Veon Bell. Like I'm always going to take a dual threat quarterback over a Derrick Henry, over a Patrick Mahomes. And that's my fault. That's my fault because that's my instinct, right? But I will tell my listeners and everything, don't do what I do. Listen to what I say. And I will take Derrick Henry over a Le'Veon Bell. I will take Najee Harris over a Travis Etienne if I'm giving advice. My personal view has nothing to do with what I'm going to tell you to do. Because I'm going to take Etienne over Najee all day, every day, just because I like the kid's story. I'm a big narrative guy as well. But Arthur Smith in this offense, in this league, in this division, Najee Harris is the clear-cut running back 1.01 for this offense for the rookie class as well. Because of what this running back can do for the offense, Matt Ryan can finally score in the end zone. He's not going to have to throw 80-yard bombs anymore. Najee Harris will pick up 40 yards and still be on the field.
Yeah, that's
He's a big guy.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Arthur Smith does in Atlanta. Now, out of the 4 remaining coaching vacancies out there against the Chargers, Texans, Lions, and Eagles, which one do you think has the most appeal?
If the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, the Texans.
Okay. Not the Chargers with Justin Herbert?
Like I said, if the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, that's the biggest thing in my mind. Okay. Outside of that, yeah, Herbert. So last year, 2 days after the draft, we got a timestamp. Our intern for Belly Up Fantasy Live is transcribing all of our podcasts and getting all of our hits versus our misses. 2 days after the draft last year, I said Justin Herbert with the 27 score on the Wonderlic will be the quarterback 1 out of the rookie class and be the best quarterback out of the rookie class in fantasy football. This year, it came to fruition. Justin Herbert was the quarterback 7 in fantasy football and the number 1 rookie quarterback out of the class. That is a huge spot because of the weapons that they have. I'm not even talking about the offensive side. I'm talking about Joey Bosa. I'm talking about their linebackers. I'm talking about their cornerbacks. That defense is solid. The LA Chargers defense is a cut above the rest. And especially in this division, you want to coach a good defense. Now you look at the offensive side of the ball, and you have a super young quarterback who is moldable, who is smart, who can pick up things that you put down. The dude out of Oregon is phenomenal. 27 on the Wonderlic, right? Only outscored by Ryan Fitzmagic at a 28. No one's even
Harvard. He went to
Harvard, right? Out of Harvard. The dude is phenomenal, and he runs, and he makes good decisions. His touchdown to interception ratio is phenomenal. And then you couple that with a good offensive line in the Pounceys, in Marquise Pouncey, the best Pouncey, and two tackles who have played with this kid for a while. And then you got Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly. I'm assuming that the Chargers will take a running back at some point, either in the offseason or in the draft, just because I don't think Austin Eckler is the dude. He's like James White to me. You need a Najee Harris on this team. But then you look at the wide receivers, and you have a wide receiver 1 in Keenan Allen, who is phenomenal. Keenan Allen is a top 10 wide receiver day in and day out. So Justin Herbert to him, Keenan Allen's going to be there. And then you have the deep threat in Mike Williams. Jesus, man. Like, this offense is top notch. So like I mentioned, if the Texans do not trade Deshaun Watson, the Chargers will be the number 1 vacancy.
All right. Before we wrap up here, Chris, and since you're a Texans fan, I do want to ask you for just because I'm just curious, if the Texans trade Deshaun Watson, where does he go?
So
if you say Miami, I'm gonna kick you off. No, just kidding. You're gonna say Miami, aren't you?
With an asterisk on it, we will talk about the team that I want him to go to, but obviously what makes the most sense with the asterisk is Miami. You trade Tua, you trade the 3rd, you trade the 18th to Houston. And I mentioned this with Billy when I asterisked Texans should get a GM and wait for a head coach. So, in my mind, the Texans already got their GM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you trade Deshaun to the Dolphins. You get Tua. You get the 3rd, you get the 18th, and whatever else you want to get, right? With Tua, you leave Big Rome there. With the 3rd, you get Travis Etienne, you get Sewell, you get Najee, whoever you can, right? The best athlete right there. At the 18th, you get offensive line. Next year, you go get your head coach. That's what I want as a Houston Texans fan. But what my gut as a fantasy fan tells me, ship him to Chicago. Let's go. Get Deshaun Watson to Chicago with Allen Robinson, with David Montgomery. These two guys have been the best tandem wide receiver running back in fantasy football for a while. They're one of the only 3 tandems of running back and wide receiver to go over 1,000 yards each in a season with Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles. What do you think happens with Deshaun Watson, man? Oof. I mean, they're winning more games, they're scoring more points. The monsters of Midway they're an elite defense. You got Khalil Mack, who is Darius Leonard AB. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're right there. Kendall Fuller, the safeties over there are phenomenal. The DC for the Bears, Monster Midweek. I mean, just come on, let's just go. And the fan base over there is phenomenal. Deshaun Watson has also played with a bad offensive line for a long time. The Chicago Bears, they're not an elite offensive line, but they're way better than what he's had. And right now, Monty and Cohen, way better than DJ and DJJ. So let's see Watson win something in Chicago. And that's where I want, as a fan of Watson, that's where I want him to go, is to Chicago.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So before we close things up, we got a special announcement at the end. But first, we want to give a shout out to one of our partners at Belly Up Sports. It's Invader Coffee. I've been enjoying the Black Heart Espresso blend throughout the show. But for the coffee lover who wants good quality coffee with no BS and no filter, Invader Coffee is an ultra premium, veteran-owned coffee company. Thanks, boys and ladies. Proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to serve only the highest quality organic air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple, the best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air-roasted, 100% money-back guarantee. When you visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and you receive 15% off your order. See, right there at the bottom of the screen, right there. See, 15% off. 15. Get it. I actually ordered some more coffee the other day. I'm going to get their Mexican chocolate blend. And I forget what other blend they're going to get. But we got the Bad Santa. I got the Bad Santa. It's awesome. Too bad they're not. It's a holiday blend, so they don't have it right now, but get it next year. It's excellent. And I've been also enjoying their whiskey blend too. It's pretty delicious. So get yourself some good coffee. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the show. We mentioned that we had a pretty significant announcement at the beginning. We're gonna go back to doing that hockey. So I'll let you take the reins in this one, Chris. Go ahead and give us our announcement.
So everyone who's watching right now, and whoever will continue to watch, guys, Ryan McCarthy will host a new show for Belly Up Fantasy coming out in 2 weeks, I believe. Right, Ryan?
I believe either the 19th or the 26th.
19th or the 26th. We'll get you more updated on that with
We'll put a pin in that.
social media. But Ryan will be hosting a new show, Belly Up Fantasy Live, Hockey Edition, for all you hockey aficionados out there playing fantasy hockey. He will be hosting. We've got two great co-hosts out of was it Tomahawks podcast?
The Cannons and Tomahawks.
Cannons and Tomahawks. There we go. Alex and Zach. These dudes, I talked to them yesterday. Man, nothing but a party, as you would expect with hockey guys, right? Beer drinking, talking that smack. These dudes know what they're talking about. It's going to be super fun. And I will be on as well as the fantasy aficionado as well, giving you minutes and breakdowns and things like that. But we will do that every other week. It'll be really fun. And hopefully we can win you some ships and win you some money in DFS and in your fantasy podcast. You know what I'm saying? So, or in your fantasy league. So check us out. We'll be dropping that here pretty soon. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited because we're gonna start ramping up the hockey content. We brought on Zach and Alex. They're gonna be our Blue Jackets and Blackhawks guys exclusively. We got some beat writers writing up some really great articles on bellyup.com. I'm gonna be helping out with the hockey content because I'm now head of hockey content. and I guess we got Harrison, our intern, who is killing it on Instagram with videos. We're going to be releasing more content as the season rolls along. I'm excited to do fantasy hockey again and hosting the show. I'll be cracking wise while Chris, Alex, and Zach dig into the details of who to pick up, who to drop in your fantasy hockey leagues. Again, we'll help you'll win those boats. You'll win a couple boats in your fantasy league. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for this edition of A Round for the Weekend. Again, I want to thank Chris Pinto. Chris, give us your socials for both yourself and for Belly Up Fantasy. As soon as you stop drinking, I'm going to keep talking while you're chugging your beer. So in the meantime, for A Round for the Weekend, let's connect on Facebook, facebook.com/BellyUpSports, Twitter, Instagram, BellyUp AFTW, and YouTube AFTW Belly Up. We'll let him finish his burp. Pinto, go ahead. Chris Pinto, go ahead and give us your socials for both Fantasy Live and for both Belly Up Fantasy and for your personal socials as well.
So first of all, you can always follow me at Aggie Kappa Sig on all socials. I'm always there. You can DM me, tag me, whatever. And then also at Belly Up Fantasy Live, I'll be there all day, every day. You can always follow me and Dan, our head of fantasy department, at the Belly Up Fantasy Twitter account. So big things coming here. The football, me and my football guys will be coming out on Wednesday, right? And then we'll be doing basketball, baseball, possibly golf, and then obviously me and Ryan, hockey, man. So big things coming for Belly Up Fantasy Sports, Belly Up Sports in general. Shout out to Mike Brown for letting us do this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Mike Brown, Blaine, all of our co-founders in general. Shout out to them for letting us be as creative and goofy and also serious as we want to be. If you want to join our team, there's the address right there, bellyupsports.com, right there. There's a link to join the team. You can fill out that form, send it in. Either Mike or Blaine will get in touch with you if you want to write, if you want to do podcasting, if you want to do video stuff, if you want to do graphics. We'll take you all. So, but join us. We're a growing company. We're gonna break. I think we're down for a breakout year this year. I can't wait. I think we got some big things coming ahead in 2021. Lots of additions. Lots of good things. So that'll wrap things up. So again, Chris Pinto, I want to thank you for joining me this week on this Saturday edition of Around for the Weekend. And as always, check us out at bellyupsports.com. Until next time, we'll save you a seat at the pub. Cheers, everyone.